Columbus wasn't the only guy who failed to meet his goals. Another well-known explorer has an equally unhappy ending to his story. His name is Ferdinand Magellan. Magellan is known as the first man to circumnavigate, which means sail around, the world. You can see on this map here he basically completed what Columbus had planned. He sailed west from Spain and reached the Indies in the east. Well, he kind of did anyway. You see, Magellan didn't actually make it all the way. He was killed by natives before finishing the journey. However, some of his crew did make it back, and since he led the voyage he get the credit. I'd be pretty mad if I was one of those crewmen. I mean, shoot, they spent 3 years sailing and some dead guy takes all the credit. That's weak.
There once was a man, his name was Magellan, a Portuguese skipper, the girls found him cute. He sailed with 5 ships to find the East Indies, then come back to Spain with a bounty of loot. Whoopee-tie-I-O, oh happy Magellan, starting your journey with hardly a care. Whoopee-tie-I-O, strong brave Magellan, you'll find the East Indies, you just don't know where. They crossed the Atlantic and spotted a country. Magellan said,
"It's the East Indies at last!"
But then someone shouted,
"Hey, that's Argentina!"
Magellan got cranky and chopped down the mast. Whoopee-tie-I-O, settle down, Magellan. Put down that axe, there's no time to despair. Whoopee-tie-I-O, keep trying, Magellan. You'll find the East Indies, you just don't know where. A great storm arose in the mighty Pacific. The 5 little ships were diminished to 3. At last land was sighted, Magellan was happy. But then someone shouted, "Hey, that's Chile!" Whoopee-tie-I-O, cheer up, Magellan. Check out your map and don't tear out your hair. Whoopee-tie-I-O, keep trying, Magellan. You'll find the East Indies, you just don't know where. It took them 5 months, but they crossed the Pacific. They spotted a land that was dotted with palms. Magellan proclaimed,
"Yes, that's the East Indies."
But then someone shouted,
"Hey, I think that's Guam."
"Ay, ay, ay, ay! Oops, Magellan, your fun little journey's become a nightmare. Whoopee-tie-I-O, keep trying, Magellan. You'll find the East Indies, you just don't know where." They sailed due west to the Philippine Islands. Magellan was pleased as the natives drew near. But then someone shouted, "I think they're attacking." Magellan said,
"What?"
and got hit by a spear. Whoopee-tie-I-O, farewell, Magellan. You almost made it, it's really not fair. Whoopee-tie-I-O, oh ghost of Magellan. The East Indies Islands were right over there.
There were many other explorers and voyages going on at this time as well. The result of them was new opportunities for trade all around the world. Not only could Europeans more easily reach the East, but they now had a whole new continent to explore and trade with. This led to new conflicts among the countries of Europe as they struggled for the control of these new lands. These new lands were collectively known as the New World. But I mean, it wasn't really new. It had been there all along. It was just new to the Europeans because they'd never found it before. One interesting thing about this New World was that they spoke their own languages. The Europeans, obviously, didn't speak it. Any communication had to be done using physical gestures like pointing and such. Try having a conversation without actually speaking. It is a mess. Eventually the Europeans taught some natives to speak their languages, primarily Spanish, so communication became much easier. Being able to easily communicate is important for trade. How else can you negotiate prices and things like that without it? The more they communicated, the more they traded. This trade became known as the Columbian Exchange and really worked both ways. Europeans brought new stuff to America and they brought new stuff from America back to Europe. Here's the 4 main products that went to Europe from America. First, and obviously most importantly, was chocolate. Many vegetables were brought over, with corn being among the most important. Tobacco also went to Europe and became hugely valuable. Lastly, potatoes, which have become a main food throughout Europe, came from America at this time. Many products also moved the other direction. These are the things that went to America from Europe. One of the main things was horses. There were really no large animals native to America. Well, not any you could ride anyway, so horses were a huge change. The Europeans also introduced guns to America along with iron weapons and tools. These iron weapons proved to be a huge problem for the American natives, as we'll see later. Lastly, another animal that was later brought over were cows. Having beef was another huge change for the Americas. Now, if that is all they traded, it would have been all good. Unfortunately though, whenever new peoples are introduced to each other, so are their diseases. I'm not going to explain how diseases and immunities and all that works, just know that both sides had diseases that greatly affected the others. Many Europeans caught malaria while in the New World and died. The Europeans in turn carried a disease called smallpox to the Americas that killed millions. We'll look more at this relationship in the next unit when we learn about the people of America specifically. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this enjoyable. I will now get back to my regular job saving the world. Oh wait, I mean my regular job of not being a superhero at all. Bye.